Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something totally fascinating, decoding the invisible. You see, humanity has this relentless, almost obsessive drive to map and understand the hidden layers of complexity that surround us. Whether those layers are buried deep beneath our feet, stretching across tense geopolitical borders, or woven into millions of lines of code, we are constantly trying to make sense of unseen forces.
Take this phrase, for instance, centuries trying to outrun the past. It perfectly captures the philosophical undercurrent of all the source materials we're unpacking today. We're constantly moving over unseen layers of time, history, and physical structures that secretly dictate our present reality. The truth is, to figure out where we're going, we absolutely have to learn how to read the hidden signals of where we've already been.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover mapping deep time, the Mosh-Chud covert complex, the poison pill trap, filtering digital anomalies, and finally, tracing regions of time. We're going to see how seemingly totally disconnected realms, from ancient geology to modern intelligence to algorithmic code, all rely on the exact same fundamental skill, separating the true signal from the chaotic noise. Let's get right to it.
Part 1. Mapping Deep Time. We're going to start our journey by looking downward, way down into the ancient layers of the Earth, just to set a baseline for how we read the past. Our starting point for mapping these deep physical signals is this fascinating document from 1980. It's V.G. Chernov's dissertation from Moscow State University. It is an incredibly dense, highly academic text entirely dedicated to decoding the epic geological history of the Earth by analyzing very specific, buried signals left behind by time. Now, the specific signals Chernov was obsessed with are called psiphites. Technically speaking, psiphites are sedimentary rocks and conglomerates, but to a geologist, they aren't just dead rocks. They're like ancient memory cards. They act as essential indicators of massive geodynamic regimes and tectonic shifts. Geologists literally read these buried stones to decode the unseen history of mountain building and sediment formation that happened millions of years before we ever existed.
And it's brilliant when you really think about it because these ancient rocks actively function as structural signals. By mapping psiphites, geologists can practically reverse engineer the evolution of the Earth's sedimentary shell. They serve as direct indicators of orogenesis, which is just the scientific term for mountain-building epochs. Chernov used these physical markers to reveal complex spatial and temporal patterns in regions like the Soviet Carpathians. It's basically a tool that lets us accurately reconstruct the Earth's hidden structural past.
Section 2. The Mosh-Chud Covert Complex.
All right, let's pivot from ancient geological layers to the intensely analytical world of modern intelligence. It turns out analysts are also looking for buried signals, just very different ones. Through some highly meticulous geospatial tracking, intelligence analysts isolated an extreme spatial anomaly. We're looking at an assessed deep subsurface strategic asset located right under the Kopet Deg mountain shield in Iran. This is a facility purposely buried out of sight and deeply embedded into the region's raw geography.
What's really striking is when you compare this location's spatial shift logic to standard deployments. Conventional defense axes usually correlate directly with demographic density, where the people are. But this Mosh-Chud complex is an extreme outlier, positioned near a spatial void with minimum infrastructure. So how did analysts separate the signal from the noise here? By tracking hidden subterranean engineering signatures. They found massive tunneling spoil piles, multiple redundant entrances, and this highly isolated ultra-high voltage power line consuming electricity at a rate entirely inconsistent with local civilian needs.
Section 3. The Poison Pill Trap. We need to objectively examine the assessed strategic logic at play here, because the stakes are incredibly high. The intelligence outlines a geo-cybernetic cascade analysis, suggesting that striking this complex kinetically, meaning with conventional weapons, triggers a calculated catastrophic sequence. Step 1 is the trigger event itself. Step 2 is the immediate fallout, specifically massive transnational radioactive dispersion. Step 3 is a secondary cascade, resulting in the severe paralysis of Eurasian logistics. And Step 4 is the terminal system impact, which effectively amounts to a deconstruction of international rule of law due to the normalized civilian collateral.
To put that sequence into perspective, in a hypothetical disruption event, plume dispersion models indicate that destroying this node guarantees massive, transnational radioactive fallout. Within just 24 hours, this contamination would blanket critical Eurasian infrastructure corridors. It would drift right across the Turkmenistan border and immediately trigger severe crises in adjacent unstable areas which are identified here as potential Taliban escalation zones in Afghanistan.
The source intelligence emphasizes that this extreme potential for political, religious, and human collateral functions deliberately as a poison pill.
It's essentially a trap that neutralizes conventional kinetic threat vectors. Because a physical attack carries such disastrous, far-reaching regional consequences, the assessment concludes it forces a massive strategic shift. Moving away from kinetic disruption, adversaries are forced to pivot toward continuous cyberlogical interdiction and multi-domain monitoring of the facility's hidden networks.
Section 4. Filtering digital anomalies.
Now shifting gears from geographic space straight into the highly abstract digital layer. In this realm, algorithmic systems are constantly searching for data outliers. These configuration variables right here, drawn directly from an optimized Python trading bot, represent crucial tools used to actively filter volatile digital signals in real time. Parameters like a 2% trailing stop, a window size of 60, specific Kolmogorov weights, and setting fast_mode to true, these are the foundational building blocks of modern digital tracking.
And to do this successfully, the code relies on incredibly complex mathematical filters. For instance, fast LZ complexity maps exactly how compressible the data is. Fast wavelet energy isolates specific frequency energies hidden within the broader data stream. And fast Mahal robust mathematically identifies statistical distance outliers. These abstract formulas, they are doing the exact same thing as our geologists and our intelligence officers. They are ruthlessly isolating the true, actionable signal from the chaotic, deafening noise of the financial markets.
Section 5. Tracing regions of time.
I want to slow the pace down for a second here and bring this all back to the personal human experience. Consider this beautiful line: a British heart with a German ghost. This comes from a poetic reflection on a massive trans-European motorcycle journey. It powerfully represents a single human being physically moving across the exact same invisible layers of history, conflict, and borders that we've just been analyzing. The writer speaks of 9 years of dust upon the floor and tracing the regions of time. As they travel from the Franken lines all the way to the frozen coast, crossing through Poland's borders and German nights, they aren't just covering physical miles. They are navigating deeply personal history alongside massive geographic lines. They are literally reading the terrain of their own life in motion.
And honestly, I think this is the core takeaway. The writer says, whatever shape I'm passing through, the road is home. Whether it's the geologist reading a buried rock, the intelligence analyst identifying a mountain anomaly, the algorithm parsing financial data, or simply a rider out on a motorcycle, we are all continuously trying to interpret the signals of our past and present environments to make sense of the wildly complex world around us.
Which brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with today. Whether written in ancient stone, buried deep under modern mountains, or coded into the abstract algorithms of our digital networks, what invisible structures govern your world? Thank you for exploring these unseen layers with me in this explainer. I really hope this helps you look a little closer at the hidden signals surrounding you every single day.